The New York Giants just made every single team in the NFC East uncomfortable. And the crazy part is, most people have no idea why. This was not a trade for a superstar. It was not a draft night shocker. It was something far more dangerous. They went out and hired the one coach nobody thought would be available. And in doing so, they changed the entire trajectory of this franchise overnight. John Harbaugh walked into that building in East Rutherford with 180 regular season wins, a Super Bowl ring, 12 playoff appearances in 18 seasons, and 6 division titles already on his resume. This is not a coordinator getting his first shot. This is not a guy learning on the job. This is a man who has been in the fire, won in the fire, and stood at his very first press conference and told the media that the expectation is not to go out and compete. The expectation is to win every single game. For more than a decade, the Giants have been searching for an identity. 5 head coaches came and went since Tom Coughlin walked out the door. And in that time, the rest of the division built something while New York kept spinning its wheels. But John Harbaugh does not do slow rebuilds. He does not need 3 years to teach a culture. He walked into Baltimore and won a Super Bowl within 4 seasons, then completely reinvented that offense around a different quarterback and won 2 more Most Valuable Player awards. Now he looks at this roster and sees something that most outsiders miss. A young quarterback in Jackson Dart who threw 15 touchdowns and ran for 9 more in just 12 starts as a rookie. A defensive front with Dexter Lawrence wrecking the interior and Brian Burns coming off a 16.5 sack season. And behind the scenes, a front office that quietly signed 16 free agents with a purpose, not a spending spree. This is not the same Giants team that has been stuck in neutral for the last decade. This is a team that now has a proven architect, a rising quarterback, and a roster built with a clear identity for the first time in years. But here is what makes all of this so dangerous. John Harbaugh is not running someone else's system. He told the media at the owners' meetings that this offense will be built around Jackson Dart and what he does best. Not a carryover from Baltimore. Not a Matt Nagy scheme. A New York Giants offense designed specifically for the players in that locker room. And if there is one coach in the National Football League who has proven he can take a quarterback and build a championship around him, it is the man now standing on the sideline in East Rutherford. The foundation is set. But whether this whole thing takes off or falls short comes down to one player, and that is where the real story begins. Jackson Dart walked into the National Football League last season and did things most rookie quarterbacks do not do until year 2 or 3. 15 touchdown passes against just 5 interceptions, 487 rushing yards, 9 more scores on the ground. In his first 9 starts, he became only the 4th player since the year 2000 to throw for over 1,800 yards and rush for 400. Those numbers tell you the talent is real. But what makes this situation different from almost any other young quarterback in the league is the coach standing next to him. John Harbaugh has already developed 2 completely different franchise quarterbacks. He built a Super Bowl winner around Joe Flacco, a traditional pocket passer. Then he rebuilt everything around Lamar Jackson and watched him win 2 Most Valuable Player awards. 2 styles, 2 quarterbacks. Both worked at the highest level because Harbaugh knows how to build around what a player does best. Now he has Jackson Dart, and he told the media this offense will be designed specifically for him. Not a carryover, not a system. A custom fit. The biggest thing Jackson Dart needs to fix is not his arm. It is his body. He took hits last season that could have been avoided because he refuses to slide. John Harbaugh drilled that habit out of Lamar Jackson early in his career. He will do the same here. If Dart cleans up the deep accuracy and learns to protect himself, the NFC East has a much bigger problem on its hands than anyone wants to admit. The quarterback is the engine, and now he has the one mechanic in the league who has rebuilt this exact engine before. Most teams coming off a losing season chase headlines. The New York Giants chase something else. 16 players signed in free agency on mid-level spending. John Harbaugh explained it simply. The Ravens spent about the same amount and signed 8 guys. Said the Giants doubled that number because they targeted motivated players who fit a specific style of play. This was not a spending spree. It was a roster construction built around identity, and every single move pointed in the same direction. Isaiah likely followed Harbaugh from Baltimore on a 3-year, $40 million deal. He gives Jackson Dart something he did not have last season: a 6-foot, four-seam stretcher who forced 30 missed tackles in his career. Tremaine Edmunds was released by Chicago and got a call immediately. 3 years, $36 million. 8 straight seasons of 100-plus tackles. He replaces Bobby Okereke and becomes the quarterback of the defense. Darnell Mooney brings deep speed after a 992-yard season in 2024. Calvin Austin III adds another vertical threat. Patrick Ricard, the highest-paid fullback in the league, signals a power run identity. Jermaine Eluemunor protects the blind side. Greg Newsome II adds cornerback competition. And more signings are coming after the draft. Layer by layer, this roster is being rebuilt with purpose. The talent was always there. The scheme was the problem. Now Dennard Wilson takes over as defensive coordinator after 2 years in Tennessee, where his unit ranked second in total defense and second in passing defense. The excuse is gone. Dexter Lawrence is one of the most disruptive interior defenders in football. He demands double teams on nearly every snap. That creates space for Brian Burns, who took full advantage last season with 16.5 sacks, 31 quarterback hits, 22 tackles for loss, and second-team All-Pro honors. Opposite him, Abdul Carter was misused as a slot corner and quarterback spy under the old coaching staff. That will not happen under Wilson. His hand will be in the dirt, rushing the passer, doing what he was drafted 3rd overall to do. Micah McFadden re-signed on a prove-it deal. Tremaine Edmunds cleans up behind them. When you combine Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Abdul Carter with Tremaine Edmunds in the middle, this front seven has the potential to be the most dominant unit in the division. But there is one more level to this defense that could change everything, and it starts with a cornerback most people have forgotten about. Deonte Banks was a first-round pick who had a strong start to his career playing man-to-man coverage under Wink Martindale. Then the scheme shifted to zone and everything fell apart. That was not a talent issue. That was a coaching issue. With Dennard Wilson installing a new system and John Harbaugh giving him a clean slate, Deonte Banks has a real chance to re-emerge as a legitimate outside corner. The ability is still there. He just needs to be put in a position to use it. Paulson Adebo provides a steady presence. Greg Newsome II adds competition. Ardarius Washington came over from Baltimore on a low-risk deal. Tyler Nubin and Jason Pinnock hold down the safety spots. But the draft could take this secondary to another level entirely. If Caleb Downs from Ohio State is sitting there at pick number 5, John Harbaugh knows exactly what to do with him. He drafted Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore and turned him into the most versatile safety in football. A player who could cover the slot, play single high, line up in the box, and match up against tight ends. Caleb Downs has that exact same profile. Pairing him with this defensive front could make the Giants' defense elite overnight. The hire of Matt Nagy as offensive coordinator carries the most question marks. In Chicago, the offense dropped from 9th in points per game to 29th, then 23rd, then 27th. The development of Mitch Trubisky did not work. The development of Justin Fields did not work either. But John Harbaugh has made one thing clear. This will not be a Matt Nagy offense. This will be a Giants offense built around Jackson Dart, with Harbaugh setting the vision. The offensive line still needs work. Andrew Thomas is one of the best left tackles in football, but has dealt with durability concerns. Jermaine Eluemunor holds down the right side. John Michael Schmitz is at center. Right guard is wide open. John Harbaugh admitted at the owners' meetings that the offensive line is still a work in progress. Names like Joel Bitonio, Kevin Zeitler, and Greg Van Roten remain available in free agency, and a signing could come after the draft. Bringing back Evan Neal and Josh Azudu on deals with no guaranteed money is a low-risk swing with high reward potential. John Harbaugh graded both highly during their draft process and believes his coaching staff can unlock what previous staffs could not. It costs nothing and could pay off big. Cam Scatabo is rehabbing a dislocated ankle suffered against Philadelphia in Week 8, but he says he will be ready for training camp. He is a physical, violent runner who sets the tone on every carry. Tyrone Tracy Jr. stepped up after the injury and finished with 740 rushing yards as the primary back. The addition of Patrick Ricard at fullback signals that John Harbaugh wants a power run identity. This is not a finesse offense. This is a team that wants to punch you in the mouth. If the Giants draft Jeremiah Love at number 5, that backfield becomes one of the most explosive duos in the entire National Football League. John Harbaugh called him a very, very good player with extra emphasis. Speed meets power, the kind of combination that makes defensive coordinators lose sleep. The tight end duo of Theo Johnson and Isaiah Likely gives Jackson Dart big bodies to work with, allowing Harbaugh to run 12 personnel extensively, just as he did with Mark Andrews and Likely in Baltimore. Condensed formations. Play action off a strong run game, a mobile quarterback extending plays. The blueprint is right there. For the first time in over a decade, the New York Giants have a proven head coach, a young franchise quarterback, a defensive front that can dominate games, and a draft loaded with options to fill the remaining gaps. John Harbaugh did not come to New York to rebuild. He came to win. And the way this offseason has been constructed piece by piece, with purpose and identity behind every single move, this franchise is closer to contending than anyone outside the building wants to admit. The NFC East spent the offseason watching the Giants quietly add 16 free agents, hire a defensive coordinator who turned Tennessee into a top 2 unit, and bring in a head coach with 180 wins and a Super Bowl ring. So, while everyone was focused on the usual splashy names, John Harbaugh was building something that looks a lot like the teams he took to the playoffs 12 times in 18 seasons. The division should be paying very close attention. The Giants are not coming. They are already here. And the warning was issued the moment John Harbaugh walked into that building in East Rutherford.